Hey friends, welcome back to Jenifood and my kitchen. It has been so hot. It's the perfect time to talk about how to make sweet, refreshing drinks in your own kitchen. I'm talking homemade classic lemonade, watermelon lemonade, Brazilian limeade, and a plantation iced tea, otherwise known as Hawaiian sweet tea. Doesn't that sound good? Keep watching because we are going to whip up some good drinks to beat that heat. Let's do this. That's right. Let's make lemonade. I have all the things we need. I have fresh lemons, I have some water, and I have a simple syrup that I'll talk about in just a few minutes. First of all, we are going to squeeze 1 cup of lemon juice. Now, in a pinch, you could also use, I buy those, they're like lemon juice in a green, like glass bottle from Costco. You could also use a cup of that. Some lemons yield more than others. It's funny, when I go to the grocery store, which I haven't been in a while, I haven't been able to get my own lemons. But it's funny because I find that if you look for the lemons that have a little bit of a thinner skin and they have a little more give to them, those are the ones that are going to be juicy. So there's a little shopping tip. But I'm still at the mercy of grocery pickup, so we're just going to squeeze what we've got. Literally make lemonade out of lemons. Now, if you're local to me, and you know who you are, if you're watching and you're local, you need to go and support the New Business Mondays. They were at our Freedom Festival here this weekend, and I know that they're planning on popping up all summer around this area, and they have got some fresh squeezed, like that good fair lemonade, only better because they put things like coconut in it. I mean, I'm going to have a real problem. They have an orange dreamsicle, or like a creamsicle recipe. They have a citrus blast. They can add all kinds of flavorings. So if you're local to me, then you want to look them up on Facebook. Mondays is the name. They are wonderful. But everywhere else, I mean, you need to know how to make this. If you have company or you're having like your friends over, whoa. It is so nice to know how to make fresh squeezed lemonade. All right, where are we at here? We are at a 1/2 cup. So we got to just keep going. Whew. All right, I've got our 1 cup fresh squeezed lemon juice. Now, in this pitcher, I have 5 cups of water. I'm going to go ahead and add that right in. All right. And then a little before I started this process, now I am making this actual drink sugar-free. You don't have to make this sugar-free. It just so happens that little girl, my granddaughter that lives with me, is sugar-free. She cannot have gluten and she cannot have sugar or much sugar. So I went ahead and I turned my stove on low and I mixed in 1 cup of sugar substitute, which is a stevia based, and 1 cup of water. And I just heated it up enough to let all of that dissolve. So now we're just going to take that mix and I'm just going to pour that right in there. And that will be the sugar for our sugar-free lemonade. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to give this a mix, and that's it. 1 cup fresh squeezed lemon, 6 cups of water, and 1 cup of sugar. So I did the 1 cup of one of those cups of water and 1 cup of a sugar substitute kind of melted together to make up that. But that makes a 1/2 gallon of lemonade. So let's stir and taste. Just give that a stir. Got a little seed and a little pulp in there, but that's okay. All right, let's go in for the taste. She will be so surprised today when I pick her up and tell her there is sugar-free lemonade. Now, if you like it a little sweeter, you can always add more. If you like it a little less sweet, add a little less sugar. But that's 6 cups water, 1 cup fresh lemon, 1 cup sugar. It's perfect in my book. Let's make the next one. All right, we're moving on to our next recipe. Now this time we are going to make some watermelon lemonade with some fresh watermelon. Now I went ahead and I made a regular pitcher, just like you saw me do a couple seconds ago. I made another pitcher of fresh squeezed lemonade, and I am just going to whiz up. This is about, as you can see, that's like a heaping, that's a quart. That's 4 cups, but I mean heaping. So I'm going to put all of this into our blender. I'm going to whiz this up, and then I'm just going to add a cup at a time. Now I make this sometimes where it's mostly watermelon and just a little bit of lemonade, or like half and half. I mean, you can do that whatever you like, but I'm just going to show you how to whiz this up and add that and make a fresh watermelon lemonade. All right, we've got that watermelon all whizzed up in the blender. Now you could strain this. I mean, this is a seedless watermelon. There might be a few seeds in there, but honestly, it's not really a problem. I mean, I know there's probably a couple lemonade seeds. Unless you're like, don't want to run across the seed, you can always strain this. So we are going to, now this is a little bit, holds a little more than that pitcher. So I'm going to mix this in here. I am going to pour all of this lemonade right in here. And then I'm going to start off with 2 cups of our watermelon, or let's see, yeah, there's 2 cups on there. A little more than half of this. I think that's about 2 cups. So I'm going to pour that right into our lemonade. And that gets me right to the top. And look at that. Oh, this beautiful drink. And just like that, we have fresh watermelon lemonade. I'm going to go ahead and give that a taste. Oh, doesn't that look good? You put that overnight in the fridge to really chill and kind of blend. That is delicious. So I'm going to save the rest of that watermelon juice, and I will probably make more lemonade as the week goes on, because if the temperatures are high, I want something cool. You know what I'm saying? I also just wanted to add, now if you don't want to add like one of those Monin syrups, like if you don't want to add something that has dyes or colors or artificial flavors, you can also, I mean, you can add obviously the watermelon that we just added, but like we live in cherry capital, Michigan. And so I have this red tart Montmorency cherry juice concentrate that I can get from my local orchard. And I will add this. I add this to things like dressings, smoothies, and lemonade or limeade to make cherry. So you can always add something, whether you live in peach country or orange. I mean, you can add so many different things to lemonade out of juice that is fresh. So that just gives you an idea. All right, for our next recipe, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to start squeezing the limes. We need 1.5 cups of lime juice. We are going to make Brazilian limeade. Have you ever had such a thing? It is life-changing. My friends and I, actually our pastors and my husband and I, we were all on vacation in Myrtle Beach a couple of years ago, and we ended up going out to dinner to one of those gaucho steakhouses, like a Brazilian steakhouse. And of course, you know, we told our waitress, you know, no thank you, we didn't want anything alcoholic, but do you have anything interesting or exciting that's not alcoholic? And so she wanted to know if we had ever tasted Brazilian limeade. And of course we were like, you had us at limeade. I mean, I love anything citrusy, so sure, bring it on. I think we polished off 2 pitchers that night at dinner. And then we proceeded to go to the grocery store, my friend and we bought all the limes and all the things. I looked it up online, and we spent the rest of that week kind of perfecting this recipe. And I'm telling you, we were drinking this, you know, as we traveled, we were drinking this out of the back of our car. We had a pitcher filled, and we were filling our cups at gas stations and things like that. It is so good. And I'll tell you, if you are making any kind of Mexican food, so tacos, burritos, nachos, anything like that, this drink goes really well with that. We're looking to get 1.5 cups of lime juice. These limes are juicy. Now, in a pinch, you could use a bottled lime juice, a good one. I just think fresh is always better. If you have a citrus squeezy thing and you have access to go to the store to get limes, fresh is always better. But in a pinch, I'd rather have bottled than none. All right, we've got our 1.5 cups of lime juice. I'm going to pour that right into my pitcher. And then we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. Right in there. And kind of, this is where this gets, it looks kind of milky in a glass. Sweetened condensed milk. Now we're going to add about 2/3 cup. I've got 1/3 cup here. We'll add that right in. There's 1/3. And there's 2/3 of sweet condensed milk. Now the rest of that, I'll just make up some kind of coffee creamer or something with that. Or maybe I'll make another pitcher of Brazilian limeade. All right, there's our 2/3 cup of that. So, and that's it. And now I just need to go ahead and add 6 cups of water to this and give it a spin. And then we will give this a taste. 6 cups of water added. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to whiz that all up. I'm so excited. Isn't this pitcher beautiful? I just got this a couple weeks ago. I like to go thrifting for old dishes. Yet another fun fact about Jenny. I mean, I've already told you how much I love pretty dishes. But I love like vintage bowls and serveware. Now normally, as you know, I buy all of the like avocado green, but when I saw this picture, I was like, I just can't leave that behind. I think this will be my Brazilian limeade pitcher. That's gorgeous. All right. And as you can see, that's kind of got like a milky look to it. That's the sweetened condensed milk. I'm going to go ahead. My mouth is watering. I'm so excited about this. That is so good. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love this. I mean, with on ice, with some tacos, some of that cowboy caviar we did last week. Talk to me, friends. It's good stuff. You should make this. All right, friends, we are on our last drink, and that is the Plantation Iced Tea or Hawaiian Sweet Tea. I mean, you'll find it online with either one of those names. We're going to start by adding 2 cups of water and 1 cup of sugar into a small pot. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to bring that up to like, like a small boil, not really bubbling over, but just bubbles. And then I am going to let this fresh mint and 3 tea bags. Now these are the family size tea bags. I go ahead and I get these at my local Meijer. Did you know they make family size? Each one of these makes a quart of iced tea. So I use these all the time for sun tea or summer tea, or like what I call Yankee tea, which is just unsweetened iced tea. You can always tell we're from the north when we go down south, and we're the ones that want to know if restaurants have unsweetened iced tea. So let's get this boiling, and then I'll show you what we're going to do from there. All right, we are going to let these steep for 15 minutes. I will go ahead and set the timer. And then we will just make the rest of our plantation iced tea as soon as that's done. All right, friends, our little mixture here is that steeped for 15 minutes. Again, that was 3 family size tea bags, 2 cups of water, and a cup of sugar with a little bunch of mint. So I've gone ahead and I've fished all that out. And I just want to say, when I'm making iced tea at home, I always make like a concentrate like this, because that way you don't have to use all hot liquid, and you can just pour that little bit of a hot liquid in there and then kind of cool that down with a colder water. So to that, I'm going to add a half a cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice and a half a cup of this pineapple juice. Now I just happen to have, this is the one that I got at my store. So that's another cup we're going to add to that. And then I have 4 cups of water. I'm just going to take just enough water to get this to the 2 quart size. This makes 2 quarts. So that's perfect. That was 4 cups. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to give this a mix. Now I know this will taste better when it's like nice and chilled, but we'll go ahead and give it a look and a taste real quick. Ooh, look at that. Oh my gosh. That is so refreshing. And that is not overly sweet. I mean, I would think you like a cup of sugar and pineapple juice. It is not that sweet. And that mint is just enough. So you can always make this and adjust, if you like more, like less tea. I put an extra tea bag because I like it to kind of taste more like a tea. But if you want to taste more of that lemon and that pineapple, you could only use 2 tea bags. If you want less sugar, you could make it sugar free. I just wanted to show you some basic recipes to go ahead and put in your fridge, let it chill, and when it's a hot summer day and you need something cool to drink, I got you. Thanks for watching, friends.